What? Oh, he's right here. All right. Keep your nuts and your bolts together. That way, if you lose it, you lose both and not one. It'll drive you crazy if you lose both of them. It'll drive you even more crazy if you only lose one. Ask me how. All right, y'all. What is going on? Welcome back to another episode of Darius Bills. So, I don't know what order I'm posting these videos, but, well, I guess it's easier to show you. So, today's episode is going to be on replacing the wheel hub / wheel bearing on your 2014, 2019 Mazda 6. It probably also applies to the 2013 to 2020 Mazda 3 or whatever that range of Model 3 is. And then it also probably applies to the CX-5, the CX-9. It's probably all the same. Probably just need a different hub. It might even be the same hub. I don't know. If I find out, I'll put it on the screen. But if I forget, sue me. Don't sue me. Please don't sue me. I don't have any money. I work a 9 to 5, just like y'all do. But new wheel hub on the passenger side because well, I guess I can show you better. I can tell you the threads on the axle messed up. I couldn't get the bolt tight. So then the hubs, the bearings are not meant for an unclamped lateral load. So then the hub wheel bearing had a lot of play. And yeah, I destroyed getting it off because I didn't want to drive on it with a lot of play, because the only thing holding your wheel on is your wheel bearing. Your wheel bearing, your hub assembly is the only thing holding your wheel on. Your wheel come flying off. So if you ever go get an inspection and they say that your wheel hub or your wheel bearing need to be replaced, you need to replace it, because if it comes loose, your wheel is coming off, and then you're going to be in a whole lot more money than whatever it was to replace that wheel bearing. So wheel bearing, wheel hub, if it has play, you need to replace it, because your wheel will come off. So other than that, it had zero issues before I drove it without the hub, without the axle bolt being tight, because I couldn't get it back off. So what happened was that I ended up using my Dremel and cutting the axle nut off. And then I cut off, of course, the bad part of the axle. And then here we are. So since I normally do stuff in pairs, since I replaced the passenger side one, then I'm also going to replace the driver side one. That way I know that both have been done. Now I will check the bearing play once I get the axle nut loose, because of course, since the axle nut is on, you're not going to feel any play. But as soon as we get it off, we can see if it has play. But regardless of whether it has play or not, it is getting replaced with TRQ wheel hub. My lower control arms are TRQ. They've been on here for 100,000 miles and they've been fine. So that only leads me to believe that their hub wheel bearing assembly is going to be just fine too. So on this car, the hub and the bearing is all one assembly. So you don't have to press out and press in new bearings. It's 4 bolts that attach it on. So you can do it yourself instead of having to mess with having to press in and out bearings and dealing with bearing races and in and out of bearings and blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to need for that is a 12 millimeter for the ball joint bolt. You're going to need a 32 millimeter for the axle nut. And then the bolts that hold the wheel bearing on is a 14 millimeter. And then, of course, you will need to disconnect your ABS lines. You can leave the sway bar in link because that's not connected to the lower control arm. And, of course, since I am bagged with the height sensors, I will need to take my height sensor loose. But I don't think any other Mazda is on 3H. If you have AccuAir, depends on where you have your thing, you need to disconnect that, or you're going to break a very expensive height sensor. So let's get to taking this off. I've been talking for 5.5 minutes. So let's get this off and let's get to it. By the way, I do have a video on jack points. If you need to know jack points and methods for getting your car off the ground. And then, quite frankly, if you can't jack your car up, put it on jack stands, and if you can't get the wheel off, you might not want to be tackling a job of doing wheel bearings. That's just words of advice here, So if you're watching this, you're probably trying to figure out if it's something that you want to do, if it's something that you can do, you have the ability to do. So yeah, enjoy. And if you feel like you can do it, do it. If not, be safe. Have a shop or educated friend, family member, whoever, do it for you. Or get your sugar mama to pay for the job. That's always an option too. If you have a spare sugar mama, let me know. Oh, damn, what am I doing? I just told y'all that if you have air ride, to take the doggone sensor loose. And here I am about to cost myself a whole bunch of money. About to break this sensor for not taking it loose. I thought I was forgetting something. I was about to have a bad day. Because I don't even know if you can buy these sensors by themselves. And I think that's all we need to do. So this actually might end up being way easier. Man, my ears are ringing. I will say that, do these have grease fittings on? I will say that if you live up north or somewhere where they do a bunch of rust, they do a bunch of salt and your stuff rusts, taking the lower ball joint out might not be viable for y'all rusty people. So just keep that in mind. All right, so now that the ball joint is out, I should be able to. Do I need to take the axle out to get these bolts out? I might get those bolts out while leaving the axle in. I don't know. I would like to take the axle out because I don't think I have any swivels. If I can take the axle out, it will make my life. Is my bag deflated? Nope. Oh, can I get the axle out? Oh, yeah. I should have let the air out my bag. All right, cool. Oh, that made it a whole lot easier. All right. So next, we're going to take my M18. Where's my M18 at? Right here. With a 14 millimeter, which I didn't bring over here with me. And then we're going to knock those 4 bolts out that hold the axle, that hold the hub. And then we'll have to figure out something to pry it or hit it out, because it's probably kind of stuck like the other one was. It wasn't stuck, but it's like a press fit for the most part. All right, I got my 14 mil on my impact. So let's see if we can get this knocked off. I need one of these behind me so I can see. This impact is a little too big. I need to turn this wheel hub that way to the left. All right, let me turn this and then I'll be back. All right, that's 2. That's 3. So I might actually need, this joint is way too long. Way too long. I need one just a little bit shorter. Alright, so that's all 4 out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back the nuts, and I'll show y'all. I'm gonna back the nuts out until, so I back the nuts out until they are flush with the front plate. And what I'm gonna do is take my hammer and I'm gonna hit the bolts to break it loose from the spindle. And you see that it is now loose. Now I don't know any other way that you will go about getting the hub broke free from the spindle other than doing it that way. Primitive, yes. Effective, yes. So get these out. Always make sure that the threads work with the new part, because I've had a couple of parts where for whatever reason they just didn't pitch the right threads in the part that I was replacing. Why is that still tight? So I am going to make sure that all that works and fits and cooperates before I put this part on. Also, take note that the shield, can y'all see? Take note that the shield faces backwards. If you put it forwards, it's going to hit, it's more than likely going to hit the caliper. So the shield faces the back of the car. Get this last bolt out, and then the shield just slides off. And this bearing, this wheel hub bearing feels perfect. No play in it whatsoever. Still got some resistance to it. Perfect. Didn't need to be replaced, but since I did the passenger side, do the driver side, do stuff in pairs, that way it should be on the same schedule. So if one goes out, the other one probably goes out. So since it's good, I'll probably use this wall art, make a table or something out of it. I don't know. Make a chair, make a swivel chair. It's a heavy duty swivel chair. Alright, so I always like to take the new part and the old part and compare them, make sure they look the same, make sure they're roughly the same size. Probably most importantly, make sure they are the same bolt pattern. Everything looks good. It's going to be a like for like exchange. We are going to take the shield, put it on there, get the bolts to line up, get the bolt holes to line up. Then I'm going to take the 4 bolts and I'm going to insert them into the back of the hub, and this is going to be for alignment reasons. It'll be easier to align with the bolts in here. And before we do this, I am going to clean up the inside mating surface. Again, for y'all folks in places that rust, this might be of importance to you for installation and for possible future you, or if you're getting rid of the car, then it won't matter. But future person have to work on this, and near future you for getting this installed, you might want to clean inside of these mating surfaces. So I've got a little wire wheel on my drill, and just gonna clean it up real fast. Oh, and don't hit your wheel sensor, or you need to buy another one. It is replaceable, so if you do break it, not a big deal. If you want to take it out, it has a 10mm bolt, but don't hit your wheel sensor. So mine wasn't too bad, just one of those, you know, while you're in there things that only take another second. It may make your life a lot easier for near future you. So just gonna take the bolts, put them back in, again for alignment reasons, and near future you will love you for it. So get your shield lined up, get your bolts lined up. What can y'all see? Get out the way. All right, and let's get this bad boy on. If you had 3 hands, it would make it a lot easier. So we're just going to get them a couple of threads in. Nothing serious, just a couple, because I do want to make sure that I pull this in evenly to the spindle. So how I'm going to do that is that, I mean, you can do it by hand, but I don't know where my ratchet, where's my ratchet in, I don't know where it is, so I guess we just do it by hand. I don't know where my M12 ratchet is, but oh well. So get you a, where's my 14? That's a 15, 12. Come on now. Where's my 14 at? I'm just going to take my socket and I'm going to just evenly tighten these bolts up, so that way it pulls the hub in evenly and not cockeyed like your ex-girlfriend. Where's that bolt? And I don't know if you can tell in the video, but the hub is slowly mating itself to the hub. then just go around and just make sure that they are all snug. And I think these are supposed to be torqued down to 90 foot-pounds. So I'm going to grab my torque wrench, and this is going to be a tight spot. I have a pretty long torque wrench, so this is going to be a pretty tight spot to torque them down. I'm gonna let you know now, I typically don't torque stuff like this. I just ugga dugger it. Ooh, I said it with the hard R. Ugga dugger it, and be done with it. But for the purpose of this video, I will try to torque wrench it. But anything you do, it's your responsibility, none of mine. So let me track down my torque wrench and a where's my, here it is, 1/2 inch 14 millimeter, and I'll be back. Torque wrench set at 90. I'm not sure how, I might need that long 14. This is the cheap Harbor Freight torque wrench, nothing special. All right, so that's one. I'm gonna do it in a crisscross pattern. All right, that's two. Boom, boom. So technically I should do the top. Where's that nut? Sometimes you can't find. There we go. All right. Ugga dugging it is way more better. All right. So I like to go back and check everything, because sometimes when you tighten something, it can make something else loose. So I like to do a verification. All right, that's one. That's two. That's three. Where that bottom one at? Oh, there we go. That's four. All right. So now the wheel hub, wheel bearing is installed. 90 foot-pounds on each one, torqued down. Then another rotation verified. So now let's get the axle in. Ugga dugga the axle. Oh, my light just turned off. And then get the ball joint in with the bolt, and we'll be back where we started, but now with a new wheel bearing that we didn't need to replace, but it's just good insurance to go ahead and do it. So I'll be back once I catch my breath. Those Ugga duggas, said that with the A that time, or I'm out of shape and old. Alright, let's get this ball joint back in. Now with the ball joint, I have it mentioned on my video when I did my lower control arm. It has like a little slot in it, and I'll see if I can find a picture of it. You need to make sure that that slot is up in the spindle hole, so that way when the bolt goes through, it's in that slot, and that will not allow the ball joint to drop down. What you don't want to do is not get it up high enough where the bolt goes through the hole in the spindle, but not through the slot on the ball joint. Then you are going to lose your ball joint being in the spindle, and then this is going to allow your hub and your strut assembly to move out. It's going to fold up, and you're going to have a really bad day and tear up a lot of stuff. So if you take the ball joint out, you need to make sure that you get it up high enough to where the bolt slips through this indent right here. Like you can see that little curve, the bolt will actually go and be held in right there, and that keeps this from sliding out. So that takes some trial, but you know, use the hammer to tap. Don't tap on the bottom of the ball joint, tap on the bottom of the little control arm to get it up in there to where it goes through. So word of the wise and word the big bird. Oh, I forgot I got the wheel turned. Oh, this is gonna be fun. All right, let me straighten this wheel back up, and then we'll get this we'll get this all back together. All right, throw the axle on so that way it doesn't accidentally come out. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and let's ugga-dugga this joker on. That way we don't forget. I want to say that this is supposed to be like 200 foot-pounds or something like that, and the M18 on setting 1 is like 140, so close enough for me. Where's my, I see the nut. Where's the bolt for the ball joint? What did I do with it? What? Oh, he's right here. All right. Keep your nuts and your bolts together. That way, if you lose it, you lose both and not one. It'll drive you crazy if you lose both of them. It'll drive you even more crazy if you only lose one. Ask me how I know. All right. Get the ball joint lined up. Can I get y'all down here low enough? Nah, I can't. I think that's high enough. Not quite. Is that not good? All right, so use the jack for leverage and then give it some taps and it goes. Well, it went right on in. I got tired of banging on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this nut in here real quick And then I'm gonna hit the little control arm from the top just to make sure that it's seated all the way. Just to be on the safe side, because you don't want your ball joint to come loose. Very, very important. All right, that did not budge at all. So I'm gonna tighten up the ball joint, and that should conclude this video. All right, where's my, I think I spend more time looking for sockets and stuff than actually working. All right, now where's my 14 wrench? Oh, I never had a 14 wrench over here. All right. All right, so I'm going to hook up my the rod height sensor, and that's it. So if you were looking for a video on how to replace the wheel hubs in your garage on jack stands with pretty much basic stuff, I mean the only thing that's, I guess, that is not basic would be an impact, but I mean you could get a budget impact from Harbor Freight, Lowe's, Home Depot. Like I said, this is torqued to 200 foot-pounds from the factory, so you're gonna need something that can probably bust off at least 300-400. So I think this one was rated at like 600 foot-pounds, and the only thing that I've never been able to get off on this was that stuck axle nut on the other side that was pretty much stripped on there. So yeah, if this video helped you or whatever, leave a comment with your make and model. This process was about the same. If it didn't help you, let me know why. I don't know how to improve on stuff unless you tell me what I did wrong. If I did something right, let me know. I'll keep doing it. I try to keep this video as short as possible, but in the beginning, I think I talked for like almost 6 minutes. I will put in the beginning that I talked that much, and then that way y'all can just forward, or I'll do like the little time stamp thing in the bottom. Because I hate watching videos and then you gotta get 10 minutes in for them to not even show what they did to fix the problem. I'm shiny. So, like everything you do, think, build, and then after you build it, fix it, repair it, whatever the case may be, enjoy it. Peace.